Oh hi. Geneva, the city in the southwest of Switzerland. Capital of the French-speaking canton of the same name and administrative center of the commune of the same name. With the population in 201,000 people. 2017. Geneva is the second largest city of the country. Foreign citizens make 48% of the population. Within cross-border agglomeration, Big Geneva, lives 915,000 people. It is located on coast of Lake Geneva at an exit of the river of Rhône from him, at border with France. In 2014 it was called the best city for accommodation. In the city the headquarters of the numerous international organizations, including the European Office of the Union, the Red Cross, the UTO, WHO, CERN, till 1946, the League of Nations are located. Geneva is also World Financial Center. Near the city the Large Hadron Collider is located. Along with Basel, New York and Strasbourg, Geneva is one of the few cities of the world in which there is one of the influential international organizations and which at the same time isn't the capital of any country. The river Rhône divides the city into two parts. On the left coast of Rhône the historic center with St. Peter's Cathedral and a Gothic town hall, on the right coast, the Palace of Nations and railway station. The main attraction, the fountain 147 meters high. It is for the first time mentioned by Julius Caesar as the Celtic settlement of Geneva in the 1st century BB. In the Middle Ages I was under the power of various European states. In the 16th century the Reformation is carried out. At a turn of the 18th, 19th centuries I was in structure of Napoleonic France. In 1815 as the canton I was a part of Switzerland. Etymology. The city was mentioned in Latin texts. With pronunciation of Geneva, probably, from the Celtic toponym of Genoa from the root genu, a bend, in this sense, the twisting river or estuaria. The medieval county of Geneva, in medieval Latin known as Pagus Major Genevensis or Comitatus Genevensis. Become after 1400 the Geneva province of Savoy, though which isn't stretching to the city until after the Reformation didn't become the place of the Geneva diocese. The name of the city from Genoa, Estuaria, is close by origin to the Italian port city of Genoa. History. Pioneer settlements on the place of the modern city arose more than 200 years ago. In 120 BB the Roman troops occupied the city founded by Celts for several centuries before and already developed in that place where the river Rhône follows from Lake Geneva. In the 4th century the population adopts Christianity. In the 11th century the city becomes a part of the Sacred Roman Empire. In 1124 Bishops Geneva achieved recognition of as governors of Geneva, then an end of the power of Counts Geneva in Geneva was put. At the same time Columns Savoy built to an episcopal throne of representatives of the family. Geneva received self-government in 1387. In 1526 Geneva, Fribourg and Bern concluded defensive alliance. In 1530 the Savoy Duke Charles III was forced to recognize independence of Geneva. In the 16th century the city turned into the large European center of the Reformation, accepting a large number of religious refugees including from the neighboring France. Geneva was the place of activity of such figures of the Reformation as Ulrich Zwingli and John Calvin, who to the death in 1564 severely and despotically dominated in Geneva. In 1584 Geneva signed the contract on mutual aid with Bern and Zurich again, but 5 Catholic communities which were on the party of Dukes Savoy protested against the entry of the city into the Swiss Union. In 1602 the Savoy Duke Charles Emmanuel I tried to capture Geneva. In the night of December 12, 1602 there was a fight, major for the city, in which Savoyettes got beaten. Annually Genevites celebrate this day as the Storm Holiday, or Escalada. In 1603 the contract under which Geneva finally gained independence was signed. In 1685 in France it was cancelled Nantes about toleration, and in Geneva there arrived many refugees Huguenots, among whom was many handicraftsmen and businessmen that contributed to development of the city. In Geneva trade, banking and production of ours prospered. Because of contradictions between the aristocracy governing in Geneva and the lower class of the population in Geneva in 1707 and 1737 there were revolts. In 1782 there was another revolt which was suppressed by means of troops of France, the Sardinian kingdom and Bern. In 1792 governors of the city were overthrown, and proclaimed Geneva the Republic with the political rights equal for all. In 1798 the city was attached by Napoleon to France for what the Special Department Lehman was created. By results of the Vienna Congress in 1815 it was annexed to the Swiss Confederation. In 1847, after the popular uprisings of 1841 and 1846 under the leadership of James Fawzi, new, more democratic constitution of Geneva was adopted. In 1907 the Geneva Parliament adopted the Act of Division of Church in the canton. After World War I, Geneva became the headquarters of the League of Nations thanks to the help of the Federal Chancellor Gustave Idor and the diplomat William Rapper. After World War II in Geneva the office of the Union was located. Geography. Geneva is located on 46 en and 6 el on the southwest tip of Lake Geneva where the River Rhone follows. The city is surrounded with mountain chains of the Alps and Jura. The city occupies the space in 15.93 square km, while the area of the canton is 282 square km, including 2 small enclaves of Soligne in the canton of Vaud. The part of the lake surrounded with the city has the area of 38 km. And sometimes it is carried to the small lake of Petitvarnish. Canton border extent with other cantons of Switzerland -4.5 km. Total length of border -107.5 km, from them -103 km fall on France. Departments of Aisne in the north and Top Savoy in the south. 0.24 km. 1.5% from the square of the city are used in the agricultural purposes, while 0.5 km. 3.1% are covered with the woods. Other square of the city 14.63 km. 91.8%. It is busy with buildings and roads, 0.49 km. 1%. The rivers and lakes, 0.02 km. 0.1%. Not used lands. Among the built-up territories, 4% are industrial, while residential and other buildings busy 46.2%, with transport infrastructure -25.8%, parks, green plantings and sports grounds -15.7%. Height above sea level -373.6 m also corresponds to height of the largest rock among Pierre Dunedin, two rocks in the middle of the lake which arose in the last ice age. This rock was chosen by the General Guillaume Henry de Feur as a geodetic reference point in Switzerland. The second main river in Geneva is Arve, who falls into Rhône to the west from the downtown. Mount Mont Blanc is visible from any point of the city and is in a watch of driving from the center. Climate of Geneva on Köppen's classification C moderate. Winters are warm, usually with small frosts at night and thaw in the afternoon. Soft summer. Rainfall moderate is also rather evenly distributed within a year, though fall more rainy than the rest of the time of year. In the winter, for areas being near Lake Geneva, sleets are typical. In the summer, many people swim in the lake and spend time on such public beaches as Genevski and Bondi Party. In the coldest months of year in Geneva, snow, though not always, drops out. In nearby mountains, enough snow drops out to play skiing. The trip to world-famous ski resorts of Verbier and Crane, Montana takes only 2 hours on the car. The mountain Salève, 1400 m, which are in the territory of France, is visible from south side from the downtown, and Mont Blanc, the highest top of the Alps, is visible almost from any point of the city. During 2009 the average annual value of temperature was 11 C, and the annual duration of sunlight -20.03 hours. The City Council is executive power of Geneva and functions as the collegial body consisting of 5 dix, each of which represents the department. The chairman of executive department acts as the mayor. The tasks of departments, coordination measures and performance of laws accepted by city parliament are carried out by city council. Elections to city council are held every 4 years. Executive power holds the meetings in Payliner, near Parc du Bassin. The building was built in neoclassical style during the period from 1817 to 1821. The city parliament is legislative authority, consisting of 80 dix elected for 4 years. The city parliament establishes norms and rules which are executed further by city council and administration. Parliamentary sessions have public character. Unlike members of city council, members of city parliament aren't politicians by profession, and their salary depends on attendance. Any resident of Geneva having the right to vote can be elected in city parliament. The parliament holds the meetings in a town hall of Hotel de Ville, in the Old Town. In 2010 the City Council of Geneva consisted of 2 representatives of Social Democratic Party of Switzerland, one of whom was a mayor, 1 member of Free Democratic Party of Switzerland, 1 member of Green Party of Switzerland and 1 party member, and here. Having married a left wheel. Geneva. In 2007 in parliamentary elections the greatest number of voices was received by Social Democratic Party of Switzerland -21.4%. Other most popular parties appeared. Swiss People's Party 19.92%. Green Party of Switzerland 17.96%. And Liberal Party of Switzerland 13.43%. In parliamentary elections the total number of voices made 39413 at an appearance in 46.8%. In 2009 on elections to Grand Council, Geneva 83167 voters from whom voted 32825, 39.5%, were registered. The Green Party of Switzerland, 15.8%, was the leading party on municipal elections. On elections of the canton they took the second place. The Free Democratic Party became the second most popular. Liberals, 14.1%, which won first place, while the Social Democratic Party of Switzerland, 13.8%. On municipal elections, and the fourth, respectively, was the third in Cantonese elections. In 2009 on elections to Council of the Cantons of Switzerland 83103 voters from whom voted 38325, 46.1%, were registered. In 2011 in all municipalities there took place local elections, of which 80 in municipal councils of Geneva, on which it was registered 117,051 voters and voted made 41766, 35.7%. From 41766 voices 244 were blank bulletins, 440 cancelled or unreadable, and 1744 with the indication of the name which isn't specified in the list. In August 2013 the population of Geneva was 194,458 people. The city of Geneva is the center of agglomeration known as Grand Genève, Big Geneva. Big Geneva includes all canton of Geneva and also the area 9. In the canton of Vaud and several territories in the next French departments, the Top Savoy and Ain. In 2011 French in the Geneva agglomeration totaled card inhabitants whose 2/3 lived in the territory of Switzerland, another third in France. Now the Geneva agglomeration experiences the steady growth of the population in 1.2% a year and can shortly reach number in 1 million people. Official language of both the city of Geneva and the canton of the same name, French, which, in turn, is the basic in Romandie, is a result of immigration in 1960-1988 years. The Spanish, Portuguese, Italian languages are spoken by a considerable part of the population. English is also widespread everywhere because of high number of English-speaking expatriates and foreign workers in the international institutes and the banking sector. Insufficient knowledge of French English-speaking expatriates, even after several years of residence in Geneva, is the growing problem. Most of the population, according to 2000, speaks French. 128,622 people, or 72.3%. English is the second in number speaking. 7853 people, or 4.4%. And Spanish the third, 7462 people or 4.2%. Also 7320 people, 4.1%. Who speak Italian, 7050 people, 4%. Speaking German and 113 people speaking in Romansh live in the city. In 2008, 44.3% of the population of Geneva were Swisses. During 1999-2009 the population changed for 7.2%. For 3.4% because of immigration and 3.4% because of birth rate and mortality. In 2008 the ratio of flows made 47.8% men and 52.2% women. The population consisted of 46284, 24.2%. The Swiss men and 45127, 23.6%. Non-Swiss 56091, 29.3%. The Swiss woman and 43735, 22.9%. Non-Swiss. According to 2000 43296 people, 24.3%. Of municipality were born and live in Geneva, 11757 of people, 6.6%. Were born in the canton while 27359 people, 15.4%. In other Switzerland and 77893 persons, 43.8%. Were born outside the country. In 2008 1147 people at citizens of Switzerland, and 893 at foreign were born. At the same time, 1114 citizens of Switzerland and 274 foreign died. Without immigration and emigration, the population of citizens of Switzerland and Geneva increased by 33 persons while foreign on 619. 465 Swiss men and 498 Swiss women emigrated from the country, then, as 2933 non-Swiss men and 2662 non-Swiss women immigrated to Switzerland from other countries. Total number of the Swiss population in 2008 increased by 135 people and foreign citizens on 3181. Increase in population was 1.8%. In 2000 the number of children and teenagers 0-19 years was 18.2%, then as adults 20-64 years -65.8%, and elderly 64 years or more senior -16%. According to 2000 78666 people who were never married of 74205 people who are married, 10006 widowed and 15087 divorced lived in municipality. In 2000 in municipality there were 86283 private households where average 1.9 people were the share of each household. 44373 households consisted only of one person, and 2549 from 5 and more. From 89269 households, 49.7% consisted only of one person, and 471 adults lived with the parents. From other households, 17429 consisted of childless married couples, 16607 of married couples with children, and 5499 of one parent and one or several children, 1852 of the people who don't have close relatives. In 2000 only one family, and in 2758, 39.5%. On several families lived in 743 houses, 10.6%. From 6990. From the total number of buildings, minus 2866 were multipurpose, most of which part were used for accommodation, 41.3%. And 603 for the commercial and industrial purposes with a possibility of accommodation at them, 8.6%. Among houses in which lived only on one family, 197 were constructed till 1919, then as 20 during 1990, 2000. The majority of houses, 277. Of this category were built during 1919-1945. In 2000 in municipality there were 101,794 apartments, from which 27084 were 3-room, and 21889, 1-room, 11166, consisting of 5 and more rooms. From the total number of apartments in 85330, 83.8%. People constantly lived in 13644. 13.4%. It is temporary, 2820. 2.8%. Were empty. In 2009, 1.3 new built houses were the share of 1,000 inhabitants. Wilmont calculated that in 1550 the total number of the population of the city was 120,000 people, which doubled up to 25,000 in 1560. The city has the University, Geneva. In 1559 John Calvin founded the Geneva Academy, Theological and Humanistic Seminary. In the 19th century the Academy lost the communication with religion, and in 1873, with the advent of medical faculty, became the University of Geneva. In 2011 the university took the 35th place among European. The Geneva Institute of the International Relationship was among the first academic institutions which began to teach the international relationship in the world, and now is one of the most prestigious institutes of Europe, offering master and doctor's programs in law, political science, history, economy, the international relationship, development sociology. Also, the oldest international school in the world is in Geneva. The International School of Geneva was founded in 1924 together with the League of Nations. The Geneva School of Diplomacy and the International Relationship, the private university which is in the territory of Château de Pontus. The old mansion overlooking Lake Geneva. The state school system in the canton of Geneva consists of elementary schools, 12 years, and the specialization period, 15 years. Visit of school is obligatory up to 15 years. Secondary education is continued in colleges, 19 years. From which the oldest, College of Calvin, which could be considered as one of the first comprehensive schools in the world. Schools of the general knowledge and vocational schools, 18/19 years. Vocational schools offer full and incomplete courses. In Geneva there are also private schools. From all educational and research objects in Geneva, CERN, perhaps, the most known in the world, to which even more popularity because of the Large Hadron Collider was added. Founded in 1954, CERN was one of the first European joint ventures and became large laboratory of physics of elementary particles. Physics from around the world gathered in to investigate substances, fundamental forces and matter of the universe. In 2011, 89244 persons, 37%, had senior secondary education, and 107,060, 44.3%, the highest. University or scientific and applied. Among persons having the higher education, 32.5%, the Swiss men, and 31.6%, the Swiss women, 18.1%, the non-Swiss men and 17.8%, the non-Swiss women. In 2011-2012 academic year in the Geneva educational system there were 92311 pupils who are, mainly, studying at the university. The educational system of the canton of Geneva has 8-year elementary school at which in 2011-2012 academic year 32716 pupils were registered. The program of high school consists of 3 years compulsory education and 5-year-old advanced which is optional. 13146 pupils studied according to the program of 3-year compulsory education of high school in Geneva. 10486 of pupils attended 5-year-old optional high school of education together with 10330 pupils from municipality who studied according to the professional, but not university program. 11797 studied at private schools. In Geneva there are 5 large libraries. Municipal Library of Geneva, the Higher School of Social Service, Institute of Social Sciences, the Higher School of Health, Engineering College of Geneva, and the Higher School of Art and Design. In 2008 in libraries of Geneva there were 877,860 books and other information carriers. The same year 1,798,980 times were taken books according to the subscription. Society and culture. The main newspaper of the city, the Daily Tribune de Genève, based on February 1, 1879 by James T. Bates, which readers are about card people. The Le Courrier newspaper, founded in 1868. It was originally supported by the Roman Catholic Church, but since 1996 is independent. It is generally widespread in Geneva though tries to come also to other cantons of Romandie. The Le Temps newspapers. The headquarters in Geneva, and Le Matin, the headquarters in Lausanne, are widespread not only in Geneva but also according to all Romandie. Geneva, the main center of media of French-speaking Switzerland. There is headquarters of many French-language radio and television networks of the Swiss Broadcasting Corporation, known for all as the Swiss Radio Television. Both networks cover all Romandie. The special programs relating to Geneva are sometimes broadcast on several local radio frequencies in special cases, such as elections. Because of proximity to France in Geneva, many French-language TV channels are available. Lehman Blue, the local cable TV channel, founded in 1996. In Geneva from 1st Thursday to the 1st Saturday of September in Geneva. The Geneva Post is observed. By local tradition, it marks the first message which reached Geneva about slaughter of Huguenots on the eve of Day Saint Bartholomew. On December 12, Geneva celebrates Escalado, a historical event on December 11, 12, 1602, when troops of the Catholic Duke Emmanuel Savoyski tried to storm fortifications of the Free Calvinist city, but Genevites could beat off artful night attack of Catholics. My tradition during the holiday prepare the chocolate kettles filled with marzipans in the form of vegetables, symbolizing the kettle of hot soup on a legend overturned on Savoyettes, and carry out a procession with horses and weapon of the 17th century. Religion. Geneva historically was considered as the Protestant city and was known as Protestant Rome, because it was residences of John Calvin, Guillaume Farel and other reformers. However, the big wave of immigration from France and other mainly Roman Catholic countries for the last century considerably changed the religious picture of Geneva. In 2000 in Geneva lived with a big share of both Protestants and Catholics. According to a census of 2000 66491 residents of Geneva, 37.4%. belong to the Roman Catholic Church, while 24105 people, 13.5%, belong to the Swiss Reformed Church, and 8698, about 89%, were Muslims, 3959, 2.22%, were followers of Orthodox Church, 220, about 0.12%. Treated Christian and Catholic Church of Switzerland, 2442, about 1.36%. Belong to other Christian churches. Also, according to a census in the city lived 2601 persons, about 1.46%. Judaism, 707 were Buddhists, 474 Hindus, 424 representatives of other beliefs. 41289 people, about 23.2%. Didn't belong to one church, were either atheists or agnostics, 26575 people, about 14.93%. Didn't answer a question of the religion. In the city there is also a headquarters of Raelians. The Geneva economy is generally focused on services sector. This city is the important and oldest center of financial services, specializing mainly on APs banking. The asset manager for the sum near of $1 trillion, and also on financing and international trade. Geneva is the headquarters for such international companies as Japan Tobacco International, Mediterranean Shipping Company, Gunvor, Vittel, Merck Serrano, Sita, CGS, Stick Electronics and Weatherford. Many other multinational companies such as Caterpillar, DuPont and Cargill have the international headquarters in Geneva. Also in Geneva the European head offices of such companies as Take-Two Interactive, Electronic Arts, Invista, Procter & Gamble and Oracle are located. The Hewlett-Packard Company has the European, African and Middle Eastern head offices in Marina, near Geneva. Also in Marina the headquarters of Privateer Airline is located. For many years in Geneva there is a tradition of production of the watch. Baum and Mercier, Carriel, Chopard, Frank Muller, Patek Philippe, Gallet and Olorado. Jaeger-LeCoultre, Rolex, Universal Genève, Raymond Weil, Omega, Vacher and Constantin, Frederic Constant. Two large international producers of food fragrances and perfumery compositions. Fragrances. For the perfumery industry, cosmetics and Firmenich and Gewürzen household chemicals have the headquarters and the main production capacities in Geneva. Many people work at offices of the international organizations which are in Geneva. About 22233 people for March 2012. The Geneva Motor Show, one of the most important international auto shows. He passes in Palexpo, the large exhibition center near the international airport. In 2009, Geneva took the 4th place in the most expensive cities of the world for foreign workers list. Geneva rose from 8th to the 4th place in comparison with previous year. Geneva conceded only to Tokyo, Osaka and Moscow, and overtook Hong Kong. By 2011, Geneva had unemployment rate -6.3%. By 2008, only 5 people worked in primary sector of economy and 3 firms were involved in this sector. 8783 persons worked in the secondary sector of economy and 1200 firms worked in this sector. 134,429 people worked in the tertiary sector of economy with 12489 firms in it. Among 91880 inhabitants of municipality occupied at some positions, 47.7% make women. In 2008, the total number of an equivalent of full employment was 124,185. The quantity of jobs in primary sector to economy was 4, all from which were in agriculture. The quantity of jobs in the secondary sector of economy was, from which 51.9% were in the production sphere and 47.5% in construction. The quantity of jobs in the tertiary sector of economy was 114,818, from which 16573, 4%. It was the share of wholesale or retail trade, or repair of transport engines. 3474, 3%. Transportation and warehousing of goods. 9484, 8.3%. Hotels and restaurants. 4544, 4. The information industry. 20982, 18.3%. Insurance and the financial industry. 12174, 10.6%. Technical specialists and scientists. 10007, 8.7%. Education. 15029, 13.1%. Healthcare. In 2000, 95190 people went for work to municipality, and 25920 of municipality. Municipality import network of workers. About 3.7 workers coming to municipality are the share of one leaving. About 13.8% of all workers coming to Geneva are made by inhabitants of other regions of Switzerland, while 0.4% leave for work of the country. Among the population, 38.2% use public transport and 36% the privately owned vehicle at a trip to work. Public service. Water, natural gas and electricity are delivered to municipalities of the canton of Geneva by the state company, Service Industriel Düsseldorf. The most part of drinking water, 80%, is extorted from Lake Geneva, another 20% from underground waters which initially arrive from the river Arve. 30% of electricity are produced in the canton by 3 dams of hydroelectric power station on the river Rhône. Use verb Shansipuni. Besides, 13% of electricity are produced in the canton at the expense of the Le Chenuvi incinerator. Other 57% of electricity are delivered from other cantons of Switzerland and the European countries. The state company, Service Industriel Düsseldorf, buys electricity which is produced only at the expense of methods of renewal of energy and never uses electricity produced on the NPP or thermal power plant. Natural gas to the city is delivered by the Swiss company Gasnat from Western Europe, which also carries out 2/3 of all supply of gas to municipalities of the canton of Geneva. Service Industriel Düsseldorf also provides telecommunication services to transport companies, service providers, large enterprises. During the period from 2003 to 2005, the pilot project Voice and Voisine. The neighbor. The using fiber optic cable about triple play approved in the market of end users near Charmy worked. Transport. Main types of city transport of Geneva: trams, trolleybuses and buses. An operator of these types of city transport is the Transports Publics Genevois organization. Also a type of city transport are small passenger ships. Water trams, known as Mouette Genevoise. They ply on the Gulf Lake Geneva, on which coast the city is located. In total 4 routes of water trams work. With other cities lying on coast of Lake Geneva, Geneva is connected by the passenger lines served by shipping company of CNE. 8 vessels of the beginning of the 20th century are a part of the fleet of this shipping company. Originally all of them were wheel steamships, but 3 later from them the steam engine was replaced with the diesel-electric power plant. However, all 8 vessels kept rowing wheels. Geneva is served by the state railroads of Switzerland and the international airport. In Geneva there is an office of the United Nations and also the headquarters of other international organizations, in particular World Health Organization, International Labour Organization, World Council of Churches, International Organization for Standardization, World Trade Organization, World Meteorological Organization, International Telecommunication Union, International Organization of Civil Defense, World Intellectual Property Organization, Interparliamentary Union, International Red Cross, International Union of the Motor Transport, Geneva Association, International Green Cross. The city in literature and music. Alexander Ivanovich Hausen in the work Boredom for the Sake of gives an important place of history of Geneva and to the description of customs of Genevits. Paulo Coelho mentions Geneva in the work 11 Minutes. Action of author. His novel, Adultery, happens in Geneva and its vicinities. Clifford Saymek in the work City inhabited Geneva, the last people who remained on earth. In Geneva the character of the book of Victor Suvorov worked. A real name Vladimir Bogdanovich Razin. Aquarium, being the officer of legal residency of crew. In the novel written to Mary Shelley by Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus, it is told about Geneva as about the hometown of the main character of the work, Victor Frankenstein. Golden Age, in the name of the Pole, is mentioned in the ballet by the Russian composer Dmitry Shostakovich, the name of the city. In the work by Albert Cohen, Love of the Lord of Action are developed in Geneva. Also the Palace of the League of Nations appears. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.